Welcome to the Michele Tafoya podcast. It is Wednesday. That means Wildcard Wednesday, and we have a great one for you. These are fun to put together. I hope you enjoy them as much as we do. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Please hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. We're going to start with some funny today. We're going to start with, you may have seen this. I think it went viral on TikTok first. It was reposted to X where I found it. It's a woman putting together a spoof, but she's pretty darn good. She's just brokenhearted because Taylor Swift and Beyonce lied to her. Let's roll it, John.
Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Oprah, and all these celebrities said that if Trump came into office, that he was going to strip all of us women of all of our rights. And I haven't lost one of them. I still have to go to work. I still have all of my rights still. And it sucks. And did you also know? No, this is serious. I'm being serious. That they have visited North Carolina, Tennessee, California, Ohio. Yeah, you remember the oil or the train thing in Ohio? They visited that. They forgot about Ukraine and they're focusing on us. They care about Americans. And it's just wild. It's wild. And then they're proposing that all of the money they find from corruption, that they're going to give it back to us. Can you imagine us getting a check because they were corrupt? It's none of their business. I mean, I'll take the what? He always bothers me. I hate this president.
All right. Like I like to say, funny is funny. And boy, she was crying some real tears. So good acting by her. Maybe that's an audition tape. Maybe she lives in Hollywood or something. But I just thought that was funny. A good way to kick us off. Yeah, everything sucks in America, doesn't it? Just like Beyonce said it would. Hitler is ruling and all of your rights have been lost. Now, there was someone who actually cried for real this week. Her name is Reid. She's been on MSNBC a long time. And there is some debate about who is the most racist person on television. Is it Al Sharpton because he's such a race baiter? Is it Reid? Is it Sunny Hostin of The View? Boy, that's a whole podium right there. Silver, bronze, gold, in whatever order you want. But Reid has said some of the most inflammatory things you'll ever hear on television. And I guess now that MSNBC and a lot of those kind of smaller networks are being spun off from NBC, which is owned by Comcast, they decided to spin off her show too and just get rid of it. It's not the only one, but it certainly was the most probably high profile show. Her ratings dropped by over 50% after the election. So they certainly had cause to say, you know what, this isn't working. We're paying you and we're not getting our money's worth. Rachel Maddow later cried about it too, but she's making a fortune. And I don't think she's offered anyone any kind of I don't know, maybe she is giving parting gifts. Let's hope so. But in the meantime, Reid, one of the most racist figures on television, went to her sort of private audience away from the network and said this. Let's roll it.
My show had value and that, I'm sorry, that what I was doing had value. And in the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV. And this is kind of like me on TV, so I apologize. And then it mattered. I see Karen is there and she's been texting me as well. And so what I will just say is that in the end, thank you. Where I land is that the moment of guilt that I felt, that I went hard on so many issues, whether it was the Black Lives Matter issues of a young baby or a mom or a dad that was killed, or when we opened up people's eyes to the fact that Asian Americans were being targeted and not just Black folks, that or went hard for immigrants who've done nothing but come to this country like my parents did and try to make a life and defended them, or whether we've talked about what the president is doing that is subversive to the Constitution, that is injurious to our liberty, defending books that people find inconvenient, that Nicole Hannah-Jones put into our spirit, that we need to understand 1619 as the real founding of this country, whether it's talking about any of these issues. And yes, whether it's talking about Gaza and the fact that we as the American people have a right to object, to little babies being bombed. And where I come down on that is I'm not sorry. I am not sorry that I stood up for those things, because those things are of God. I'm a church girl too, and those are the things that I was taught were of God. And so I'm not sorry. I'm just proud of my show.
Well, I'm glad she feels proud, but the show is no longer. She just made it sound like she's just been an angel. And, standing up for people in Gaza because babies are getting killed. No one wants to see that. That's like, well, yeah, no kidding. But she didn't say anything about the babies being put in ovens in Israel. So she's come down on some pretty unpopular sides. She has used language that was far more incendiary than what you just saw. So the show is canceled. And the bottom line is it never got good ratings. And I'm sorry, in television, that's what you got to do. It's akin to people saying we shouldn't be firing federal workers. Why not? If they're not doing anything, if they're not giving us any kind of result, if they're not giving us individually or as a group something that is beneficial to the country, why are you and I and every taxpayer paying them? It's the same thing here. You're not getting ratings. You're kind of bringing the network down, your reputation. You got to go. And look, anywhere on social media, you can see her greatest hits. There is some brutal stuff out there. Brutal stuff. So, Joy Reid, I feel bad for your staff, for people losing their jobs, just like I do for some of these federal workers losing their jobs. But folks, nobody is guaranteed a job. Nobody, except a parent. And so you better take that one seriously. Now, one of the things that MSNBC likes to do, and I think to a certain extent other networks, NPR, you could say, some of the British tabloids, they like to talk about misinformation and disinformation. And they don't trust you enough to make up your own mind and to go to the sources that you find to be trustworthy, to be legitimate, and to be telling you the truth, to get your own facts. So people can sit around and blather on and on about how Trump is a fascist or Hitler or whatever. That's fine. You got freedom of speech. But who gets to decide what is disinformation or misinformation? Well, I take you now because a lot's going on in Europe that is really about censorship. Like telling people they can't pray silently on a certain street in England. We showed you that last week. Like you can snitch on your neighbors if you think you hear them say something offensive. Or you can't post something online if someone decides it's offensive. I'm sorry, you don't have a right to not be offended. Talk about your slippery slope. You could decide to be offended by anything. You could decide to be offended by this shirt and say, I think that shirt, it looked like denim, and denim is so Americana, and that is white supremacist. Get her out of there. You see where I'm going. It's a slippery slope, folks. Well, there's a woman, and she's a leader in the EU. Her name is Ursula von der Leyen. She is the president of the EU Commission. That is the primary executive arm of the European Union. Okay. And she talks about misinformation and disinformation as though it is a virus that we can vaccinate for. So rather than debunking statements or arguing or having civil debate, we should pre-bunk things. In other words, stop them from being uttered to begin with. This is chilling. Roll it, John.
And finally, it takes resilience. As technology evolves, we need to build up societal immunity around information manipulation. Because research has shown that pre-bunking is much more successful than debunking. Pre-bunking is basically the opposite of debunking. In short, prevention is preferable to cure. Perhaps if you think of information manipulation as a virus, instead of treating an infection once it has taken hold, that is debunking. It is much better to vaccinate so that the body is inoculated. Pre-bunking is the same approach. Because disinformation relies on people passing it on to others. It is essential that people know what malign information's influence is and what the techniques are that are behind it. And as the knowledge goes up, our chances of being influenced goes down. And that builds up the society resilience that we will need.
Okay. The first term I want to call out is societal immunity. In other words, she kind of wants to put this big shield around society from other dissenting thoughts, ideas, information that somebody gets to decide is mis or disinformation. She wants to inoculate society from disinformation. She wants to pre-bunk, i.e., censor. She wants to say, ooh, I see that idea coming. I don't like it. Let's get our little committee, whoever they are, and that should scare you, because now you're not choosing for yourself. You are not deciding for yourself. Your agency to decide for yourself has been removed by societal inoculation, immunity, pre-bunking. She looks like an Ursula, doesn't she? She kind of looks like an evil character in a film. I wanted you to hear and see that whole thing. It is, to me, this is highly indicative of what's going on in the EU. And you're hearing about it, Ireland, England, Great Britain, whatever you want to call it, Germany, places where you can get snitched on for your thoughts or your words. First Amendment much? So that's the EU, folks. That's the EU. Whew. That one really turned my stomach. That could keep you awake at night, unless you use sleep cream. Okay, so what is sleep cream? So I heard about this product and I was like, yeah, right, whatever. Then I met the owners and the creators of the product, the developers of the product, and then I tried the product and I went, holy cow. So it's a cream. It's like a lotion. It's you put it on your skin at night, just right at bedtime, and lo and behold, you're relaxed. All the tension sort of leaves your body and you're able to sleep. The company is called Sleep Cream. This is an all-natural CBD combined with the finest essential oils. I love the scent of this stuff. They have a few scents. I just put it on at bedtime, and then what do you know? My body can relax. Williams says the Sleep Cream formula is perfect for a restful sleep. It relaxes you, and then you are off to sleepland. Job well done, Sleep Cream. That's an email. And I've gotten some myself. Try it for a couple nights. If it doesn't work for you as well as it does for me, you can get your money back no questions asked, and you don't have to send back the product. So that's a guaranteed refund if you're not happy. Go to sleepcream.com and at CREME.com. And for the next few weeks, use the code GAMEDAY at checkout so you can get free standard shipping on your order. That's code GAMEDAY, all one term, at checkout at sleepcream.com. If you're ready to sleep really well, sleep, CREME.com. All right, back to funny. Because, you know, if you think there's a conspiracy somewhere, people who talk about the deep state are called conspiracy theorists. People who think the government is lying are called conspiracy theorists. I saw this. This was actually posted by Thomas Sowell. His kind of Thomas Sowell quotes is the thing on X. And if you don't know who he is, you should find out because he's probably going to get a Medal of Freedom here soon. Congressional Medal of Freedom. But anyway, follow him. And then you would have seen this. This is so good. Like, is there any conspiracy theory out there that you might have thought, yeah, that kind of makes sense? Or no, just heck no, I am not a conspiracy theorist. Let's listen to this comedian.
Just don't understand, how do you not believe in any conspiracy theories? I understand not all of them, not most of them, but you don't believe in any conspiracy theory? You just think the government's just batting 1,000 and telling us the whole truth? That's a strong stance to take. And again, as I said before, I don't like talking about politics on stage or off stage. I don't like talking about things I don't feel like I'm truly knowledgeable in. But I do know this. Our government is placed in charge of all of its people. I'm a father who's been placed in charge of just one son. And I lie to that all the time.
Just a beautiful delivery. The whole thing is fantastic. It's so great. It's funny. It made me laugh very hard. And it's a great point. You think the government's just batting 1,000? Really? Like, you really think your kids are telling you the truth all the time? And do you tell your kids the truth all the time? You think your parents told you the truth all the time? I love the analogy. It's phenomenal. So yeah, you think the government is batting 1,000? I do not. But I do think that the president hit a home run in the last 24 hours. When the White House now and the West Wing have been reopened to tours. And you may have seen a clip of this. I'm going to show you the longer clip because I think it gives a great glimpse into the way this president operates with just tourists in the White House and why his approval rating is at probably its highest point ever. Roll it, John.
Really something. Is everybody having a good time? Nothing like the White House. No matter where you go, you know, the biggest people come here, and they all have beautiful offices, but when they walk into the Oval Office, there's nothing like it. They look and some of them actually start crying, and these are business leaders. I don't like to see that. We can do better than that, but some of them actually get emotional. But just have a good time. We told you to get an extra special tour. You're the first one of the year. Get an extra special tour, especially for this guy right here. Good. Any questions? Yes.
Oh, I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you very much. It's great. We love our country, right?
Yes, sir.
We're war, and we're trying to get rid of this horrible Ukraine-Russia war, and I think we're doing a lot. We're dealing with both parties and Europe. And I think we'll get it done. It should have never started. It should never, ever have started. And if it did start, it could have been ended in a week, not after 3 years of bloodshed and millions of people killed and all of that great architecture knocked down. You know, those beautiful spires are all knocked down and gone, thousands of years old. It's terrible. But That's what it is, but now we're here, we're gonna solve the problem. But I want to thank you very much for coming. The tour is so great. You did such a good job. First Lady worked very hard on making it perfect, and I think you're going to really love it. And I heard you were here, and I said, let's stop by and say hello. And it's a group of very smart-looking people, I must say. Very smart. Maybe someday you'll be here as the president, right? Somebody in this group has a chance. Have a good time. Have a great tour, and you're going to give them a special tour, okay? You're going to get a special tour. Have fun, everybody. USA!
I'm sure someone will find criticism with that. I'm sure they will, because there are people who want to find criticism with this president no matter what. But that was one hell of a smart move. Whether he did it for publicity or because he really wanted to interact with these people, sort of irrelevant. No one can know for sure, but it made for great video, and it made for all of those people are going to go out and tell everyone what an amazing moment they had in the White House. I liked it. And meanwhile, outside of the White House, we had Congress people from the other side of the aisle complaining again about everything that this White House is doing, from deportations to Doge. None of it is good for these Democrats. They just don't like it. And Pramila Jayapal got up in front of the microphone and said something that I found to be really rich. She is talking about deportation. You know, when you come to America, you should have the opportunity to assimilate, to embrace our values, to work hard, as my grandparents did, and to make something of yourselves, and then to celebrate the American way of life. But you will see here, if you listen closely, that Jayapal thinks, well, just kind of like what the New York Times wrote over the weekend, that in the Hamptons, people are worried what is going to happen to their lawns and who is going to push their baby carriages. Let's roll this tape.
We can't let them continue their lies and their distractions. We can't let them deport the millions of families across this country who have been doing the work that keeps our economy going every day. We can't let them scapegoat and criminalize immigrants who contribute, who are our neighbors, our friends, our churchgoers, our community around us that we deeply love. Immigrants are us. Immigrants are us, and we all deserve respect and dignity.
That's right.
If you look at the food that's on your table, think about who picked it.
Right.
If you look at your homes, think about who built them. If you look at your vulnerable elders and your kids, think about who's taking care of them.
Okay, do you hear that? So immigrants, she has relegated them to picking food, taking care of people, which is very important, don't get me wrong, and construction workers. And as I said, there was a piece in the New York Times over the weekend talking about how people in the Hamptons are just, what am I going to do if my lawn isn't mowed? What am I going to do if I can't have the people, the cheap labor doing those jobs? Okay. Meanwhile, the president is really thinking outside of the box on immigration. And I've got an amazing, I think, piece of video to share with you because I like out of the box thinking. And usually when Trump does it, he goes way in one direction and then somehow we bring it back to something that you can all live with. That's a tease. I'm going to ask you if you're looking to do something better for your health in the meantime. You got to look no further than Kimchi One from Brightcore Nutrition. Kimchi One packs all the fermented nutrition of kimchi into convenient capsules, arming your gut with over 900 unique strains of probiotics supporting gut flora and digestion. Now, I highly recommend this product because all health starts in the gut. And, we're hearing about maha, and I think this is part of it. So putting the right fermented superfood into your gut improves every aspect of your health, your skin, your hair, your mental performance. Kimchi has been shown to even reduce your risk of obesity and promote smaller waistlines. Kimchi One is all natural, made in the USA, and non-GMO. And today you can get this exclusive offer just for my listeners, 25% off with code Michele, Michele, 1L in Michele, by going to mybrightcore.com/Michele, Michele, or call my friends at Brightcore for up to 50% off your order and free shipping. Give them a call now, 888-927-5980, and their educated staff will make sure the Kimchi One is right for you. 888-927-5980, 888-927-5980, or go to mybrightcore.com/Michele. So how is Trump thinking out of the box this time? This is so fascinating. You've heard of green cards, these visas for people who they come over on a green card. Well, now he's talking about a gold card. And rather than me explain it to you, let's let him and his new commerce secretary do that for us. Roll it, John.
We're going to be doing something else that's going to be very, very good. We're going to be selling a gold card. You have a green card. This is a gold card. We're going to be putting a price on that card of about $5 million, and that's going to give you green card privileges plus. It's going to be a route to citizenship, and wealthy people will be coming into our country by buying this card. They'll be wealthy, and they'll be successful, and they'll be spending a lot of money and paying a lot of taxes and employing a lot of people. And we think it's going to be extremely successful. Never been done before or anything like this, but it's something that we're going to be putting out over the next, would you say 2 weeks, Howard? Do you want to say a couple of words about it?
Sure.
Mr. President, are there
Wait a
any
minute.
requirements for that
Hang on a
gold
sec.
card? Do you have to invest a certain amount of money in this country in order to qualify for that gold card?
Yeah, exactly.
So
Go
the
ahead.
EB-5 program was really, you lend some money, but it was full of nonsense, make-believe, and fraud, and it was a way to get a green card that was low priced. So the president said, rather than having this sort of ridiculous EB-5 program, we're going to end the EB-5 program. We're going to replace it with the Trump Gold Card, which is really a green card gold. So they'll be able to pay $5 million to the U.S. government. They'll have to go through vetting, of course. We're going to make sure they're wonderful, world-class global citizens. They can come to America. The president can give them a green card, and they can invest in America, and we can use that money to reduce our deficit. Why do we give out lotteries of green cards? Why do we give out EB-5 for green cards? The President of the United States understands that the right answer is, why don't we eliminate the deficit of the United States of America instead?
The gold card, well, millions, but the gold card will bring in with it people that create jobs, very high-level people. I think companies will pay to get people in. For instance, you today graduate from the Wharton School of Finance or Harvard or Stanford or any college, and nobody knows if you can even go to work for a company. So Apple and all these companies that want to get people to be working for them will be able to buy a card, and for the people that are number one in their class at top schools, I see that as one of the things. But generally speaking, it'll be people with money and people that create jobs, and they won't have to pay any tax on income outside of the United States, which they're not paying right now. They're not citizens, but they'll have to pay if they create jobs in the United States. They'll pay full taxes like everybody else. So you're getting big taxpayers, big job producers, and we'll be able to sell maybe 1 million of these cards, maybe more than that. And if you add up the numbers, they're pretty good. As an example, 1 million cards would be worth $5 trillion. $5 trillion.
Wow.
And if you sell 10 million of the cards, that's a total of $50 trillion. Well, we have 35 trillion in debt. That'd be nice. So we'll see. But it could be great. Maybe it will be fantastic. We have it all worked out from the legal standpoint. It's totally legal to do. Hasn't been done before. It's been done in many different forms. We give them away. Why should we give them away? We shouldn't give them away. And I think it's something very exciting. I think it's potentially just something that we're all very excited about.
Okay, I can hear it already. I can hear the screaming already. I hear it. Do you hear it? They're saying, only rich people get access to this. What about all the hardworking, little people with no money? This doesn't exclude anyone. What it does do is capitalize on wealthy people. You always want to tax those millionaires and billionaires, don't you? Now, here's a perfect chance. $5 million gets you a gold card. This is so outside the box. This is what I love about it. $5 million gets you this green card, which puts you on a path towards citizenship. You've got to be vetted. And so one example he gave, let's say you're a big corporation, you're Apple, you're whatever corporation you want to put in here. And you see a graduate from Stanford graduates first in his or her class, but they're originally from India. They're originally from Scotland, wherever. So they're not really a citizen here. Well, you really want to recruit that person. $5 million gets them a gold card. Now you're going, $5 million? Well, yeah, to you and me, that's a ton of money. Do you know what LeBron James makes? Do you know what Tom Brady makes? Do you know what a lot of pro athletes make? Sometimes just their signing bonus is $5 million. You need to drop this pretense of some people are worth it and some people aren't. It's what the market will be. That's what makes capitalism great. Because only the people who are willing to pay the $5 million are going to pay it. And if that can pay down the debt, isn't that a good thing? Plus, it's like a tax on millionaires and billionaires. It would encourage people to bring their big businesses here instead of places that hate us, like China. To bring it here, bring the manufacturing here, bring someone here to oversee that manufacturing. Then that manufacturing leads to a ton of new jobs, which we let go when we let all the manufacturing head overseas. So just kind of open your mind to this. Think about your favorite movie star or musician, Taylor Swift. $5 million to her is like, pooh. So these big businesses and wealthy people would have to pay for this card, would have to pay the admission. All right? That doesn't mean that this would be the only kind of immigration. That's what people are going to scream. This discounts all the other immigrants. No, it doesn't. There are still ways to come to this country legally. This just happens to be a money-making way to pay down the deficit and attract really big business opportunities to the United States. I don't know, man. I got to tell you, I think it's, I like I said, I love outside of the box thinking. I think it's really, really interesting. Okay. Also really interesting. And speaking of gold, there's so much going on in the world. We hope this war is going to end in the Middle East. We've talked about China. They're constantly hacking. So why gamble with your financial future, right? Regardless of who's in office, you want your wealth to be protected. You want your financial future to be protected, right? So relying solely on digital systems and banks, that's a risk. You might not want to afford taking that risk. That's why I want you to take a look at American Independence Gold. Visit tafoyagold.com, Tafoya gold.com. Do it now to learn more or call 833-324-4653. It's right there on your screen. For generations, gold and silver have been the ultimate safe haven. It weathers wars, recessions, market crashes, and it's more about just owning gold. It's about taking control of your financial future. As a proud, veteran-owned company, American Independence Gold goes the extra mile by supporting military families. They cover custodial fees for life on qualifying accounts and donate a portion of every single purchase to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. So don't wait to secure your future. Act before it's too late. Visit tafoyagold.com, Tafoya gold.com to learn more. Or again, there's the number 833-324-4653, 833-324-4653, or tafoyagold.com. Make the smart move for your future today at tafoyagold.com. So the gold card, very, very interesting. Meanwhile, as some people are cheering for America, as some people really want to see America succeed, people want to see our citizens lifted up out of poverty that certainly exists in this country at levels we haven't seen, I think. You've got Jasmine Crockett, a congresswoman from Texas, and she appeared with Charlemagne the God on his radio show. She's not necessarily cheering for America, and she's not the only one in Congress, I think, who feels this way. But let's roll the tape and you decide.
Been the one to call it out. The fact that I'm rooting for Canada and I'm rooting for Mexico a lot is really wild. But they are really the ones that are speaking truth to power right now. They can see what it is, and they were like, we are not messing with this crazy regime from Mar-a-Lago, and basically calling them thugs. That's what it is. But I'm like, y'all knew who he was when y'all elected him. So don't act surprised.
Surprised about what? Nothing's surprising me except the rapidity with which this White House is working. It's on overdrive. And we're close to an end to this war in the Middle East, it appears. It appears that this thing is going to get resolved. Parties are coming to the table. That didn't happen for all those years under Biden. No one even talked to each other. We just kept sending money. See, that's the thing. Democrats think they can tax you enough and send your money somewhere else to solve problems. Fully fund education. What does that mean? We will be with you until you need us no more. As long as it takes, Ukraine, we're with you. As long as it takes. Does that mean we're going to bankrupt the country in the meantime in defense of a nation that is Ukraine? I'm all for defending Ukraine. But at what cost to America, to you? So there is Jasmine Crockett saying she's cheering for Canada and Mexico because they speak truth to power. Really? Justin Trudeau's stepping down and Mexico gave in and they're now helping at the border. So I don't know which power she's talking about. Talk about speaking truth to power. Here in Minnesota, there is this rule they want to implement for ethnic studies for all levels of school, K through 12, public schools. And it has a lot to do with critical race theory, etc. It's just now being called ethnic studies to make it sound really positive and interesting and important. But there's a mom out there who isn't buying it. And she spoke before the Minnesota legislature in a committee, and she is worth listening to. Roll it.
It's Coffee Monska. I'm a mom of 3. I grew up with a mom who was on drugs. When I was a kid, I lived in government housing in a 1-bedroom apartment. My mom, sister, and I shared a bed. When I was in junior high, my dad took us from her because he was worried about us moved to the burbs. But even then, I had challenges. A kid harassed me for months with racist jokes, like get to the back of the line and things like that. And eventually he burned my hand with the striker in science class that you can still see on my hand today. Despite all of this, from an early age, I knew that I wanted to be a lawyer and that nothing would stop me. Yet in college, I was given messages similar to those in this ethnic studies bill, that whites and systematic racism would hold me back. I began to doubt myself and to distrust all white people, including my friends. This type of teaching is psychological abuse and can cause people of color to question their sanity and perception of reality. It's what Musa Al-Gharbi calls benevolent racism. Although there's good intent, it attributes virtually all agency and power to white people. This ethnic studies bill is an example of benevolent racism. In the exact language of the statute, it says that it analyzes ways in which race and racism has been and continue to be a cultural and political force, and it talks about the connection of race to the stratification of other groups. It says that people who look like me and my kids are at the bottom of this hierarchy. My son was a 3.8 GPAs in APA classes and calculus, all while playing sports and working is at the bottom of this hierarchy, and it doesn't make sense. In conclusion, people will say that they need to see themselves in the curriculum. No, they don't. They need to learn to read and write, and only half of Minnesota students are proficient in that. Education is emancipation. There's too many cultures and ethnicities to teach them all. Kids should learn their culture from their family and friends, and unfortunately, due to this curriculum that pits them against each other by race, this is less likely. I want people of color to know that they are not fragile and they're not stuck at the bottom of some caste system, and that they can achieve as I did.
Again, her name is Kofi Monska. I love her. She just, I don't think, especially that last 30 seconds or so, I don't think anyone could have said it better. You want to just keep stratifying us by culture and teaching and make this hierarchy of cultures? She fought back against that. She was exposed to that in college, but she said nothing was going to keep her from becoming a lawyer. And here she is. She's an attorney and mother of 3. I cannot applaud her enough. I hope this ethnic studies thing in Minnesota gets dropped, because she's right. What they need is to learn to read and write and do math. And here in Minnesota, which was once one of the best education states in the nation, it is abysmal. Thank you, Tim Walz. And maybe at the risk of attaching these two items, we have an example. Now, this is from 11 years ago. I grant you, this is from 2014. Okay. This is Towson University. This duo made history. 2 Black women entered a debate competition. It was called the Cross-Examination Debate Association, CEDA National Debate Championship. It's 2014. This team defeated Oklahoma in the final round. I'm going to show you the little news story that was produced, which will include clips from their championship debate performance. Pay attention to this. Roll it.
Arguing it. Towson University's debate team wins, claiming an historic win. They are the first all-Black women's team to win the Cross-Examination Debate Association's national championship. This morning, we have 2 of the team members here. We have Amina Ruffin and Corey Johnson, both here to talk about the major victory. Ladies, way to go. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You've made so many people proud in this area. Now we want to pick your brain a little bit as we admire your huge trophy, by the way. That's ridiculous. But I'm going to ask you first. We'll start with you, Amina. What was the topic, first of all?
The topic was restricting presidential war powers authority.
They say the nigga's always already queer. That's exactly the point. It means that the impact is that is an impact turn to the that it is a case turn to the affirmative, because we are saying that queer bodies are not able to survive. That it necessarily means that the body of the nigga is not able to survive.
We got the topic in about July, and we started doing our research then.
And when the nigga sees these heathens suffering, that he can only envision himself, that he does not see another nigga that he can feel sympathy for or embrace, but rather that otherness gets obliterated.
And we've been supplementing our research throughout the season.
Man, photogenic object, disfigured, lynch, and trauma enough. The insight, the trauma representation is back central to the Black child's devouring and identifying with the stories and images the white culture brought up to think and act subjectively like a white man, the Black man.
So where do you go from there? You know, when you start preparing for a national competition, once you know the topic, what's next?
Well, you do a lot of research.
The way
arguing it. Towson University's debate team wins, claiming an historic win. They are the first all-Black.
I'm really not even clear what the point that either one of them was making at that podium, not at the news desk, at the podium where they were competing. I really would like to know what Oklahoma's argument was. This was 2014. I'm kind of left speechless after that one. So let's leave you on a positive note. A beautiful story out of, I think this is somewhere in Pennsylvania. And this young woman really wanted to go see the Jonas Brothers, but her chemotherapy treatments wouldn't allow her to leave the hospital to do that. She's doing brave. She's being good, hanging in there. And this happened.
I'm out. I'm going to the bathroom.
Nope.
No,
You're good.
I'm
blocking the bathroom.
Go over there.
No, I'm not going
Stay
over
with her.
there.
Never going over there. They're beautiful. No. I mean, this is natural. Yeah, this is a little bit weird. Can we like kind of clean up a little bit? Like, Anna, do your pose. Anna.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh my God.
Thank you for inviting us to come see you.
Thank you for coming. Hi.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you guys too.
When we saw your message, we had to come over.
Did you like see all like the?
Oh, it went everywhere.
We like that.
My entire feed was filled.
Was it?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. We're so glad we got to come see you. Beautiful blanket. Yeah, everybody.
Hi.
So you're a Penn State fan?
I am.
Oh, nice. Joe was at the game.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
I'm a big Saquon fan.
Oh, good. Yeah. We're really happy.
Hi.
For the Jordans.
Oh my gosh. It's so nice to meet you. Oh my gosh, you're beautiful.
I like your glasses.
Thank you.
Really cool.
Do you have a favorite song that we can dedicate to you?
Oh my gosh,
you
do the video of it.
Oh my
Are you
god. Oh my gosh. She can't think right now.
Okay, answer if you don't.
It's okay. No, I know. Let's pick three. Like,
Are you
I'm sure you're
guys
top.
gonna play SOS?
We will be playing SOS.
That's my favorite.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Good to know.
Yes.
Definitely on the set list tonight.
That's on my monthly playlist.
Oh, wonderful.
For like the past 3 months.
That's awesome. So cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Do you mind if we get some pictures with you?
Oh
Is
my
that
god,
okay?
please.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna come around this side, okay?
Yeah.
You guys have a camera over here?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, I gotta get it.
I'll keep the video going if you.
I like the Stark banner in the back.
I didn't even say
One, two,
that.
three.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
She brings it with her to the hospital.
Respect.
That's so good.
So can we get some
Some people love that.
fun organization?
Oh, I have something that I wanted to give Sophie.
Oh, wow.
This is walnut. I make bracelets.
Oh, amazing.
And I love.
She will love this.
I love her so much, and so I wanted to give her that.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll make sure she gets it.
Yeah, it like kind of matches the Stark colors.
It does.
And
She will love
She
that.
was like, by the end of Game of Thrones, I was like, she's the most badass person ever. I want. So
Let's get these
Yep,
guys
you're right.
in.
She definitely.
So this is our
Like,
Two
she
Girls
wants
From
it.
Our Fun
so
organization.
excited.
You guys are
Hannah was the one that bought me the tickets.
Oh, that's so
It was
sweet.
months and months ago.
I love that jacket.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
Hannah, get us
I
a
went 3 days in a row.
That's just nice. That's just 3 guys on tour working their tails off. Yeah, you could say it's not that hard of work. And yet they took time to do this. Very, very cool. Be brave, do good, and we'll see you next time.